Sportsbook. Today, we talked to former UCLA star Tyus Edney about that crazy game-winning drive in the 1995 NCAA tournament. All right, now pleased to welcome in the hero of the 1995 NCAA tournament, former UCLA point guard Tyus Edney. Tyus, how you doing?
I'm good. You doing good?
Everything's good, man. Everything's good. We're reliving some of the greatest moments in tournament history, and we can't do that without reliving those 4.8 seconds. But before we get to that, you guys went in as the number one seed in the West that year, your senior season. You're coming off getting knocked off a year ago in the first round by Tulsa. The program hadn't won an NCAA title in 20 years. What was the mindset of you and your teammates going into that NCAA tournament?
I think we were fine. We were like, it's finally here. Like we were working all season to get there and to put ourselves in the position to do well. And I feel like we were all anxious. It was like, all right, it's time to, redeem ourselves. And I think the young guys were like, it's time for us to prove ourselves and show what we can do. So I feel like we were more anxious to get it going and get the tournament started.
So you get past the first one, FIU, and then you get a Missouri team, talented Missouri team in the second round. You're obviously the heavy favorite, but you find yourself down with 4.8 seconds left. Take me through again in the huddle, because I know Ed O'Bannon was kind of the star of that team, and he wasn't a real vocal guy, but I heard he was vocal in this huddle that he wanted the ball.
Oh yeah, he was definitely vocal. Missouri, they played great that game. I remember them making shots, and most of the season we were able to just kind of put a run together or pull together and figure it out. But they just hung around and kept hanging around. And yeah, that last possession when they scored, I think it was a little bit of shock for everybody. And I just remember looking at the clock like, are we really down right now? Like, we're down? So that huddle was pretty intense because we were all focused on, when you have your focus on winning the championship, it's intense because we're on the ropes, and definitely Ed was telling me, give me the ball. Find me, give me the ball. But Coach Herrick had other idea in mind and drew the play up for me to go.
So describe to me that play, because you get the inbounds from Cam Dollar and you're going. I mean, again, he gave it to you at the right time, so you kind of had a burst going forward. What do you remember? I mean, I know it was a few years ago, but what do you remember?
So yeah, the coach, he said, give me the ball and go. So I just remember my mind was like, all right, I got to get this ball down the court as fast as I can. I mean, I can't, I knew that I couldn't get stopped. That was my main thing. Like, I can't get trapped. I can't get stopped. So Cam is obviously being a great passer that he was. We played together, so we just knew where each other was going to be. And so when I broke and he hit me right in stride and on the run, and I remember going and just like, all right, I can't get stopped. And so my defender at around half court was kind of corralling me to the sideline. And there was another guy kind of behind him, so I could see that it could be a potential, trap. And I knew I had to change direction. That's where I went behind my back. And then when I got back to the middle of the floor and into my right hand, which is my dominant hand, I realized I kind of lost those guys a little bit because it was a pretty quick change of direction. So, and that's when I saw the, little daylight. And so I just went right to it.
So you go to it over the outstretched arms of one Missouri defender and put it right off the glass. And like, did it hit you right away? Like, I mean, it's mayhem at that point again, because, you win a game that dramatic in that type of fashion. Did you understand, I guess, how important it was at that point? Or did it take winning the national title to look back on it and say, wow, we were that close?
I think it hit. I mean, once I saw it go in, because first, like you release it, and I remember there was a split second where the defender was in front of me to see if it actually went, and so like right when I cleared him, and I remember looking back, looking and seeing it in the net, and then obviously the mayhem started. But yeah, it was. I think the team right after that. I mean, after the celebration, we all knew that's the game. That was that game that every team has that they have to win. And I didn't at the time. You're so focused that you don't realize how important it was or it would be. So it was like for me, it was like, all right, we got through that, we won that. We can't let that happen again. We got to refocus. We got to, we got to get ready to play the next game and no more messing around anymore. So that's kind of where I think my mind, as well as the whole team's mind was. And it wasn't like, oh, we're good now. It was like, all right, now we got to that's enough. We got to no more messing around. We got to get serious. So, but not till later, you realize how important that was.
We'll get back to the show in a minute, but first, let me tell you about our partners over at DraftKings Sportsbook. With March Madness beating down our door, DraftKings is the best way for you to get a little action in on the game. If you've not downloaded the DraftKings Sportsbook app yet, what are you waiting for? It's the safest, it's the most secure, it's reliable, and it allows you to safely deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. And this week, they're offering my listeners a pretty sweet deal. If you sign up now with the promo code FIELD68, you can turn $1 into $100 if one of the main event fighters in UFC 259 this weekend lands a single punch. That's it. One punch to turn $1 into $100. And don't worry, if MMA isn't your thing, DraftKings Sportsbook offers odds and promos on basketball, hockey, or whatever sport you're watching. But since they're basically giving away $100, you might as well sign up now, watch a little UFC, and remember to use that promo code FIELD68. That's FIELD68. You must be 21 years or older. The offer is available for a limited time only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Yeah, I mean, your life changed, didn't it, with that shot? I mean, everybody on that team's life changed because you won the national title, ultimately, for a program that was so storied. But for you personally, right? I mean, that shot is something that, again, like will never leave you. I assume people come up to you all the time about it.
Yeah. Especially being back on campus, working at UCLA again, and just seeing Bruins and people that remember and alum and all that. So it is fun. It's fun. I usually, well, now we're not on campus now, but usually at least once a week, I run into somebody that may say something about it, but it's a great memory. So it never gets old for me.
How did you guys celebrate, or did you not? Because again, it was, you win that game. It's not like that was the last shot of the national title game and you could celebrate and party and whatever. You had a game. I mean, you had a Sweet 16 game days later.
Yeah. I mean, going back on campus, I remember, a lot of people were saying stuff to me like, great job, amazing, but it just never clicked because it's, when you're so focused on that's just the hurdle that we just had to get through, that's the game that we had to win. And now we got the next game coming up. So you're already thinking about, what you have to do for the next game and how just focusing on, making sure we played the way we knew we could. So it was definitely not celebration time. It was kind of like, all right, we did that. We got through them. We got outplayed. We all knew we got outplayed. And after that, it was, we pretty much kind of rolled after that.
What's the craziest thing that happened to you because of that? Like, anybody reach out to you after that? Do you remember in between that and the Sweet 16 game? I'm sure you did plenty of interviews after that one. Anybody reach out to you? Any crazy stories that came out of that?
Oh man, I wish I could say. I know that we were getting I feel like we were getting, because we had pros coming around UCLA all the time, and just kind of just getting messages through reporters and stuff that, you know, they were watching, and I just remember thinking like, man, the pros are watching this. You know, it's like, you know, when you're in college, you think it's like you're in college bubble world, but you don't realize most of the pros came from college, so they're watching the tournament too. So just hearing about like Lakers and guys like that were happy for us and stuff like that was really cool.
Is it crazy to think now when people do talk about the most memorable moments in NCAA history, like your name is always mentioned, always?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember one year they had a contest of the most memorable shot, and I think Leitner was one, and they had me at two. But I just remember thinking like Leitner's shot. It's like, wait, what do you mean I'm like up with Leitner? Like that shot, like that's who can do that shot? You know what I mean? And like they're comparing me to Leitner. Like
they were both pretty good. They were both pretty good in their own right. A little bit different, right? Leitner didn't have the speed you had. That's for sure. Yeah. Were you worried at all? Like you said, you know, when you knew you got the ball from Cam and you had a little space to work with, but when Herrick called the play for you with 4.8, obviously you have the speed, you know that, but are you worried at all that, hey, I may not be able to get there?
Yeah, like that's probably why I was you're almost going autopilot, you know. The whole season, we played fast, and we also used to do a drill in practice where we'd have to go like below the free throw line and lay it up in 3 seconds. So, you know that you have that mental picture of how you have to get it down there. You know what I mean? And so like I knew that I just couldn't get stopped. And it's like, you know, it's almost, I don't know how to equate it. It's almost like I used to play flag football, and you know, I felt and I was a quarterback. So I remember just running and being happy that I didn't have to dribble, so I can just fake people out without, you know, having to dribble. And it was almost like my mind went in that mode of like, the dribbling was like, not, I didn't care about if I was going to lose. It was like, you don't think about that. It's like, all right, I can't let them get to me. And so I got to avoid everybody, and I got to just, you know, be at 100 miles an hour, use instinct and get there as fast as I can.
Was there any option? Like if you had gotten caught and weren't able to get to the rim or even get to the free throw line, was plan B to kick it to somebody, or just were you going to throw it up from half court?
Oh, well, Ed was yelling at me the whole time. Like, you know, he's doing that. So yeah, I'm like, okay, all right. You know,
that was plan B.
Not the plan, you know. Right. I mean, if Ed was open, then for sure I probably would have hit him. But at that, just the instinct was, I was the one that was open once I changed direction. So
yeah. Listen, I appreciate you reliving it. It was one hell of a moment. I'm sure you've relived it plenty and seen it plenty. But again, to me, something that we'll forever remember in the 95 championship run for you guys in UCLA. So thanks for joining us, Tyus. I appreciate it, and all the best, man.
All right. Thanks, Jeff, for having me on.
You got it.